All right, we'll come to order. Personnel, I wanted to announce that this is going to be our first meeting. We're going to be live streaming. The place to where to go to is YouTube Village of Swansea, IL. We're putting that out in the Swansea report. It's on the website at the police department. We'll get it on the website of the Swansea. And hopefully people will be understanding this is something new. So if there are problems with it, I hope people will get on our page and say that was good, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. Some other things that I want to announce, I announced it last time, but I want to implement it this time, is we are going to start and live by the Robert's Rules of Order when it comes to public comment. And because we didn't have the things out front here, they're on the podium. So to get to the podium tonight, I'll let you raise your hand and go up to the podium and take one of those papers and sign it and put your call so we can put it in our minutes. But like all the other communities in the area that do this, to speak to the board, I want you to be acknowledged. Step to the podium. You have 3 minutes. You can submit anything you want in written form for our consideration. And if we need to get back with you for something, we will. One of us will, myself or a trustee or our village administrator or one of his staff that it pertains to. But again, this is not to put a damper on people communicating with us. It's to keep semblance of order. And I would implore everybody to live with that. And I thank you very much for that. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I will say, I feel darn safe tonight with all these coppers in here. and as always, guys, thank you for what you all do. And gals, I can't forget that. Thank you. Natalie, you're up.
Thanks. Call Personnel Committee to order at 6:01. I want to begin with the Life Saving Award. Can you stop?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Jablonski, Mayor and trustees. I'm honored tonight to bring two of your officers here for an award for their actions out in the field. Just a couple weeks ago on May 16th, Sergeant Aaron Huff and Officer Derek Shackman. Come on up. They were dispatched to a call of a stabbing victim at our Jack in the Box. Now, the incident didn't occur at Jack in the Box. It happened in another jurisdiction. A neighbor was transporting that victim by car to the hospital, saw our officers are pulled over, and these two were the first to show up. And through their efforts, the gentleman survived. He had a significant puncture wound to his chest. I don't know all the medical diagnoses of what happened, but it was a very significant wound to the chest. And with Sergeant Huff's expertise, as she is our medical expert at our police department, she does all of our EMS training for us, getting our AED certifications, our CPR certifications, all that kind of stuff. So she was the right person to be there, and have Officer Shackman also present to be able to do some of the side work so that she could focus on the patient was incredible. So I could talk here for a few minutes, or I can show you the video. And so I've condensed this video. It's about 3 minutes long so that you can just see their demeanor and how cool, calm, and collected they were during this, because this was a very significant event where we actually had to ride in the backseat of a police car to get the patient to the hospital. So
before we go forward with young individuals here, do you want to give them the option if they want to step out? I mean, you could stay, but I just want to make sure you guys are okay. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. So with our body cameras, just so you know, there's a 30-second triggering period. So what happens is I turn on the body camera, it goes back 30 seconds. That's why there's no volume right now. Once it hits the 30 seconds, then you'll get the audio.
Yes.
Okay, sit down. You okay?
Oh, wait,
No.
Step back, please. You okay?
You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
all right.
You're okay. You're okay. Where did this happen? At home?
It's top real
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Please don't let me die.
Just you?
Just so. Oh, yeah, just right.
On Monday.
All right. Take a breath for us, all right? Don't let me die.
You're okay. Can you breathe?
Yeah,
You're okay.
yeah, I'm fine. See you later, buddy.
Do you want us to get up and take a think, or are you okay? Okay. Okay.
Just see what happens. Hey, I'm gonna cut your shirt, all right? Look up for me. I wanna cut you.
I want a quick blood, just in case. A quick blood, just in case. Like a.
You wanna stop?
From my little blood bank. Just the one? Take a big deep breath for me.
What's this again? One of you wanna ride in the back with him in my car?
Yeah.
Don't let me die.
I'm not gonna let you have pain. This is gonna.
You're not gonna die.
We're good. We're good.
What's that, bro?
You're okay. I'm right here.
You're gonna die, brother. We got you.
Yeah. Get over to me a little bit, okay? You're okay. We're good, Becker.
So if you know about our squad cars, there's not a ton of room back there. So now we have an adult male and two officers with all their gear on there in the back of this car, and they're trying to render aid in there. So what I just found amazing to me is that they're monitoring the whole time. They were supportive about what was going on. We got you. You're not going to die. There was no nervousness, no lack of confidence. I mean, they knew what they were doing, and they worked as a team to make sure that they gave them great care. So if you don't know about those kind of injuries, and she could explain it better than me, but basically the stab wounds up there, we don't know if it's the heart. We don't know if maybe the lung might have been punctured. So if the lung was punctured, then all of a sudden air is going into the chest cavity, which then prevents the lungs from filling up with air. So she had to keep pressure on that entire time. And you could see it was still profusely bleeding over her glove and stuff. So, and then Officer Shackman just being there by the side, just say, hey, man, we got you. You're going to be okay. So they ended up going in the back of a Belleville squad car to the hospital. And you'd think that the hospital would be there waiting, but they weren't. They had to put him in a wheelchair and get him inside. So they went just above and beyond, got him into the room, gave all the details and information, and the gentleman is with us today. So I'm very proud of these guys. So real quickly, I just want to read, they have both got a life-saving award. It says on May 16th, 2025, Sergeant Aaron Huff displayed extraordinary courage, swift judgment, and exceptional dedication to duty while responding to a life-threatening emergency involving a stabbing victim. At approximately 3:30 in the morning, officers were dispatched to a reported stabbing victim at the Jack in the Box restaurant. Upon arrival, Sergeant Huff located a male victim suffering from a severe stab wound to the chest. The victim was rapidly losing blood, exhibited signs of distress, including labored breathing, and pleaded with officers not to let him die. Recognizing the urgency of the situation and understanding that immediate medical intervention was critical to the victim's survival, Sergeant Huff quickly assessed the injury and began rendering life-saving aid. Using her department-issued trauma kit, she applied a chest seal and direct pressure to the wound to prevent further loss of blood and the onset of a collapsed lung. While maintaining pressure and providing repeated verbal assurance to the victim, Sergeant Huff remained calm and professional, providing ongoing care while riding with the victim in the back of the squad car in order to obtain immediate medical treatment at the hospital. Sergeant Huff's calm demeanor, decisive action, and application of emergency medical training under extreme pressure exemplify the highest standards of law enforcement and public service. Her efforts directly contributed to preserving the life of a fellow citizen. For her outstanding performance, courage under pressure, and life-preserving actions, Sergeant Erin Huff is hereby presented with a life-saving award. Congratulations. Says on May 16, 2025, at approximately 3:30 a.m., after being dispatched to a stabbing victim, Officer Derek Shackman exemplified outstanding teamwork by providing critical assistance to Sergeant Erin Huff's life-saving efforts, while also providing essential encouragement to the victim. While Sergeant Huff provided care to the victim, Officer Shackman obtained the necessary supplies for Sergeant Huff as she treated the victim's injuries, thereby resulting in timely and appropriate application of resources to improve the victim's chances of survival. Additionally, Officer Shackman remained calm and confident while repeatedly reassuring the victim he would be okay. Officer Shackman's calm demeanor, swift actions, and team-oriented victim care under extreme pressure exemplifies the highest standards of law enforcement and public service. His efforts directly contributed to Sergeant Huff being able to properly treat the victim and preserving the life of the fellow citizens. For his outstanding performance, teamwork, and encouragement, Officer Derek Shackman is hereby presented with the life-saving award. Awesome, guys. Appreciate it.
Officers, thank you very much. You know, for the public here, these cameras, body cams that these officers wear, you really get to see what they go through out there. Without that, you'd never witness all the things you can see. And that's just a fraction. So the main thing that they did, besides taking care of the person, is the calm demeanor, the professional demeanor. And you did that excellently. Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Chief, very much. I appreciate that. We'll go back to the first item on the agenda. We have a promotion that we'd like to take care of this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you.
your time. I'm extremely excited about this. We're going to be promoting one of our officers today. Representing the Board of Police Commissioners is Mike Leopold. So Detective Jason Frank, if you could stand up. I'll tell you a little bit about Jason before we get into the official stuff. So Jason's been married to his wife Natalie for 22 years. He has two of his three daughters here. We got Sylvia and Lila are here. Unfortunately, Paisley's on a trip in DC, so she couldn't make it. But he is extremely family oriented, devoted to his family, very hardworking. You need something done, he's the guy that you want to get it done because he just no questions asked. He'll just go do what he's got to do, and he's going to do an impeccable job with it. So I'm very proud about his efforts with that. He is a consummate team player. So anybody that needs assistance with anything, he's the first one to raise his hand to help out. In his free time, he likes to referee soccer, youth soccer. So he apparently at some point was an accomplished soccer player himself. So his love of the game got him into refereeing. And he enjoys camping and anything to do with his family. That's a running theme with Jason, is it's all about the family. Not only does he take care of his legitimate family, but he takes care of the rest of us in the police department. We're secondary family of his. So we really appreciate that and admire that about him. As far as professionally, he was hired in 2005. I went to patrol for a few years. This might get a little emotional. He had some point in his career where he had to make a tough decision. So he was promoted to sergeant a number of years ago. And that dedication to family, unfortunately, he had to make a decision to give those stripes up so that he could focus on his family, which I totally appreciate and understand. That's the commitment that he has when he's putting his efforts into things. It's all in. And so he had some things he needed to take care of. So he went back to patrol. Actually, he went to detectives. And he's been in detectives for quite a number of years now. And the irony is that if he didn't go through that little trial and tribulation and that tough decision, he wouldn't have the expertise with his digital forensics training that most of you know about with him now. So 3 or 4 times now, he's been down to the Secret Service in Hoover, Alabama to have specialized training in digital forensics, which is tablets, phones, computers, laptops, all that kind of stuff. And he, through his motivation and his efforts, has put us at the forefront of those investigations. People come to Jason. If they have issues with those things, even the alphabet soup, the FBI, ATF, DEA, they know he's the man on that stuff. So I'm extremely proud of him picking up that torch and running with it, because that's what he wanted to do. And because of that, like I said, we're at the forefront of that in this area. A bunch of agencies come to us. So proud of him of that. And now with this ability to take a promotion, he's going to be the detective sergeant over investigations. So we will still have that expertise back there. So he just does impeccable work. Not only does he work with the Secret Service and the cyber crimes, he's on the major case squad. Has an incredible reputation with Major Case Squad. In fact, he's a deputy report officer for them. So basically, all the investigators go do their stuff. They submit it to him. He puts it together, and then it goes to the command, and then it goes to the state's attorney's offices. So I'm proud of him for that. He's also part of the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. So those unfortunate cases, he is incredible at working on those. And then another tough one is the Child Death Investigation Task Force. So he deals with a lot of very difficult cases that I'm glad I haven't had to deal with, but we have people like him that can, because he is just that good at what he does. So with that, I am going to present Jason to you for the oath of office as a sergeant at the Swansea Police Department.
All right, step forward, Jason. First off, congratulations. Detective Sergeant, the best job on the department, better than his job. And I can see your future with the Major Case Squad being a deputy commander. I just see it happening. So if you'll raise your right hand, please. I state your name,
I, Jason Frank,
having been appointed
having been appointed
as a sergeant for the police department
as a sergeant for the police department
in the village of Swansea
in the village of Swansea
and in the county of St. Clair,
in the county of St. Clair,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as sergeant
as sergeant
in the village of Swansea
in the village of Swansea
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Don't stick him.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, guys. Go.
Yeah, get in there.
Get in the photo too.
All right.
Sign it, make it official.
There's one tomorrow. There's another one over here you need to sign. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Congratulations.
Clear out the probably.
John.
Took a few years.
All right, coppers, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sure.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Mayor, can I continue?
Nobody looks like me.
Well, folks, there's some of your Swansea Police Department, some of the best.
Some of the best, for sure.
Thank you.
Chief, one more time for the rodeo. Let's get a travel request out of the way for you as well.
So, a number of years ago, I went to the FBI National Academy in Quantico under Steve Johnson's leadership. I wanted to make sure that we were set up for the future. And so we were able to send Deputy Chief Keith Howard. So now we are a part of the Alumni Association, and there's quarterly meetings associated with that. In fact, I've actually joined the executive board of the National Academy for Illinois. And this is just one of our meetings. Unfortunately, they go around the state, so we got to stay up in East Moline for this one. So I'm asking for room and gas.
Anybody have any questions?
Make a motion to forward it to the board. Second. No.
I don't need a, all in favor, that's what, I'm still getting the hang of it, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then, Chief, I know you and I discussed it, but do you want to go ahead and talk about the other item, the discussion item, to proceed with hiring probationary patrol officer? What's
Yes.
going on over there?
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So historically, we have not entertained replacing anyone until we've actually gotten their letter of resignation. I have not received it, but we do know for a fact that we have an officer that will be leaving to go back to where she's from, up in Minnesota. I figured it'd be mid-summerish, but it sounds like it might be sooner. So all I'm asking for right now is your permission to at least start looking for her replacement. I'm not asking you to say, yeah, you can hire him for sure. I just need permission to start spending the time and effort to be able to find the replacement. Because right now we have one with Sergeant Lazalek's retirement that we're trying to fill. You already approved that one. Since we're already going through it, I'd like to work on a second, just to be ahead of the game. Because if it's not a lateral and we have to go through an eligibility, which is somebody with no experience, we won't see that person probably till next spring or maybe next summer possibly. So I just want permission to be able to start working on backgrounds and stuff.
So this is a proactive approach to go ahead and start that process with the idea that if we get to a point where we find someone we'd like to move forward with, we would not do that until we had the paperwork from the officer who's leaving us, correct?
Correct. And I would come back to you with an agenda item asking for permission to make the hire.
Do you have any laterals? One?
Yeah, it came through pretty good over the last year. I think we're up to 6 now. So I reached out to our commissioners to see, like set a date for doing interviews. So I'll have more information on that soon.
Great. That's good news.
Yeah, it's good news.
What, Mayor, apologies, what do we need from this group to give him permission to move forward?
Let's do go down the line. Everybody okay with this? Carrie?
Yes, most certainly. I believe that is something that we definitely need. I think the proactive approach that you guys are taking, I say let's go with it.
Brian?
Yes.
Natalie, yes?
Absolutely.
Matt?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate the proactiveness on behalf of the residents. That's awesome. Thank you.
Natalie, you want to do number 8 also?
Yes, we can definitely do that. I would want you sitting over there feeling left out tonight. Go ahead, Chief.
My one line there.
Yes.
Had a request on an inquiry for Greg DeSutter for duty crew member. This is a member that his sole responsibility would be to fill the daytime slots. And we are looking for people to do this. He was one of them that came up. He has been in the fire service before. He's been out of it for a little bit, but he is a paramedic up in Madison County. He does have all his certifications. I would like to see him join our ranks to help us out during the day.
Excellent. I appreciate you going through the work to do that. I'd like to make a motion that we move the request to hire for duty crew for Gregory DeSutter to the board, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
And then Mayor, for number 5, 6, and 7, I'm going to make a request as soon as I can get to it. Thank you. I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee at the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, we'll move on to executive session. We'll be back out shortly, folks. we're back live streaming.
Okay.
All right, we're back in personnel under the request for contract for village administrator, police chief, and deputy police chief. I'll entertain a motion to accept the contracts as presented and noted under separate cover in executive session.
I think I have to do that. Mayor, do I not?
Yeah.
Thank you. So in respect to the employment contracts, I make a motion that we send those to the board under separate cover with the changes as discussed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I will close Personnel Committee at 7:12.
Finance committee.
I will open finance, 7:12. First item is a proposal for Regis. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Lancer. We've got a contract for our annual IT services through Regis. We've been working with them for, I think, since 2014, is that right?
It's 11 or 12.
Okay, so even before that, they provide a wide range of services for us. This is a master agreement continuing those services. And we have our customer service rep and customer relations representative, Jory, here, representing Regis, and I will let her take the floor.
Yeah, we've been pleased to support the Swansea for the last 13, 14 years. I'm not sure exactly, but I was going to try to look it up. I know it was John Openlander. That's how long it was. But anyway, we've been providing your support. We provide several different services for you. We've got a intergovernmental master agreement already with you. The service exhibits are the things that are expiring that we need to renew. Those are the ones that are presented to you today. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Regis is a government agency. If you don't know about Regis, we're only allowed to do business with other government agencies. So police departments, courts, jails, anything government, but we're not allowed to do any private business with any private companies at all. So all of our employees were all fingerprinted, background checked. We follow CJIS policy, which is the policy the police departments have to use. They have to go by that policy. It's a policy that the FBI puts in place. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I have some cards if anybody wants them. You'll be able to reach me at any time. Know that Ben, Matt, can reach me anytime.
Yeah, I'd like to have a card. I've dealt with Regis before and y'all do a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? I'll put a few up over here if anybody needs one.
Sure.
And I'd be happy to answer any questions anytime. Or if you have any problems with something and you're not getting it resolved, please let me know. Make sure it gets taken care of.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments about that? I'll make a motion to forward to the board for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So next item, sorry, I forgot to pass these out. So next item was brought up a couple of years ago. I'm going to resurrect it, at least for a discussion item, on putting a tax on storage rental units.
Thank you.
So this information is a couple of years old, but to be honest, I didn't really want to spend much time on it until we had this discussion. So, everything in here is about 2 years old. But I guess there's a couple major points that I'll make. And one is it's a potential revenue source that could help reduce our need for property tax increase. And part of the logic behind that is, according to the owners of the storage places that I spoke to, they said that about half of their units, maybe more, were not rented by residents. So half the people paying the tax are not Swansea people. And so in essence, we have people from outside the community, just like sales tax, helping to subsidize our general fund. The other part, quite honestly, is one more deterrent for more storage units, because I don't think we need any more. I think we have valuable land that's being chewed up. We also have had plenty of controversy with storage units over the years, and we have huge attorney bills that we've paid for because of storage rental units, and I just think it's worth talking about, especially since we have, I don't even know how many hundreds and hundreds that have been proposed or built over the last couple of years. So this said, 2 years ago was 930 storage units, roughly. I don't know, we're several hundred more, and there's several hundreds more being proposed potentially. So, so really it's just a discussion item to pass this out. You can read it, digest it, and we'll have it on the next agenda in 2 weeks to discuss further. So
Trustee Lanner, just a point of question. We're non-home rule, correct?
correct,
Can we levy this kind of tax?
we can.
Are we sure?
When we talked to the attorney a couple of years ago, his answer was yes.
I'm just looking at just a quick search of what defined as non-home rule. Generally cannot levy a specific tax on storage units or other similar services. Home rule units of local government are authorized to impose home rule sales tax. The non-home rule units are primarily limited to specific taxes outlined in the Illinois revised statutes. I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
We can certainly ask the question again.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it take to become home rule? I know we're capable of it, but do you know the process?
Any community can have a referendum to become home rule, or I believe at 25,000 population, it automatically kicks in.
So it would take a referendum.
Correct.
So just for the sake of those listening, as well as those who are watching online, and as well as those that are here now, do you guys care to explain a little bit more detail of what home rule means exactly?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It means generally you can't impose taxes on anything that are not defined by, I believe, the state as far as what we can and cannot tax.
There's a lot more to it, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what it is.
I know, so
I would honestly have to have an attorney tell me.
Yeah,
Well,
Just from a practical standpoint, that is probably the most important aspect.
Yeah, right.
Correct. Okay.
and just to double check really quick, are you saying that you do not believe that we necessarily have the ability of doing so? Or is that that's what we're getting clarification on? If we have the ability of doing that?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to double check just based on the idea that I very much believe that we could, but lawyers get paid for that. So I guess it makes the most sense for us to reach out to legal counsel regarding that. My comments towards this, if I'm allowed, Chairman Lanner, I very much believe that the deterrent of additional rental properties is a great thing, just because of the fact that, let's just be honest, the more rental properties come in, it appears as if there may be additional issues that come in with that.
Are we talking storage units or apartments?
No, I'm talking about storage units. That's what
Oh,
we're talking about. And within that, I did have some questions regarding that, only because of the fact that we've already had some things in the work with U-Haul and like Jennings Station Road and, with those developments. Would there be something else to, like, do we have any plan on what we would do with those that we've already kind of committed to?
That would be at this board's discretion. It could apply in a blanket fashion. In theory, if this board desired to do so, I suppose there could be a grandfathering clause if you wanted to do that. I think that would be well within this board's power, depending on your preference.
Okay.
Okay,
Kind of want the options out there, that's all. Thank you.
all right, if nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Close at 7:22.
All right, let's jump down to Public Works, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll open up Public Works at 7:22. First thing on the agenda is a resolution accepting the low bid of $162,338 from KRB Excavating. 789 West Broadway, Trenton, Illinois, for 3 culvert replacement projects. And I believe they're in separate areas, that we just bid them out as one package, right?
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to forward it to the board.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 2 is a resolution accepting a professional services contract from TWM to Wade Merchant, 4940 Old Gunville Road, for the pavement management system for 5 years at the cost of $16,700 annually. Do you have somebody here?
Yeah, thank you, Chair McGuire. We have with us our village engineer, Jeff Rice. He is here to give a real quick presentation. You have before you a packet. I'm not able to pull up PowerPoint this evening. You have a packet of presentation documents that you can run over pretty briefly. I'll have time for questions afterwards, and any general questions or specific to pavement management generally, or this contract. Thank you, Jeff.
Quick question. We had this once before. Did we get out of it for a while?
Nope, the contract just expired. This would just be a renewal.
Okay.
I would also add, with most contracts, by statute, they cannot run beyond the term of the current mayor. Service contracts like these can extend beyond the term of the mayor by statute. And in an instance like this, breaking it down in 5 years just makes it a little more palatable on an annual cost basis.
All right, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mayor and trustees. So yeah, just a quick update on this, and as Ben mentioned, I'll be here to answer any questions. But yeah, I am Jeff Rice with TWM. We've been here in Swansea for several years. Our company has 10 offices throughout Illinois, Missouri, Tennessee. Swansea is our corporate office. This is our biggest office, so I'm proud to be here. And we did start this pavement management program about 5 years ago. That was the first contract, as Ben mentioned. It's kind of expired through that 5 years. So just kind of wanted to touch base again. I know I've been, for the ones that have been on the board for a few years, I've been here a few times kind of giving some updates. But essentially what we do is we go through and we rate all the streets in town. So we have all this. This is all in our GIS database. So I work with Rick and Ben, and so they can basically see all this in GIS. And then we also have these maps. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time. You can kind of see, I'm not going to go slide by slide here, but you can kind of see what we have. So basically we've rated all the streets. You can see it by surface type. So you can see what streets are, the pavement types are hot mix asphalt, which ones are oil and chip, and Portland cement concrete. And as you see in town, it's pretty even, right? 45% asphalt, 43 concrete, and then the rest would be oil chip and just a little bit of gravel. And then as far as the ratings of the streets, that's a PCI, so pavement condition index. That's a 0 to 100 number that we rated. Just to kind of keep costs down, we've kind of done more of a wind chill survey. So we've done these inspections for several towns in the Metro East area, even some down in Carbondale, We've done it for the Bi-State. We've done like their 37 parking lots we've rated, but Shiloh and O'Fallon and Edwardsville and Belleville, we've done this for all of them. Swansea was one of our first ones. We appreciate the trust you had in us to kind of put this together. And so we rated these streets and they kind of go in a 5-tier system. You kind of see on a couple slides down. So you're either good, satisfactory, fair, poor, or very poor. And really just, I know that doesn't really mean maybe a lot to you, but essentially fair, it's a serviceable street. You can still drive on it. It does have some distressor, right? It's got, some cracking maybe, or some maybe a little bit of cable jutting or something or rutting, but overall it's still a serviceable road. Once you get that poor and very poor, those streets are definitely, it's time to do something, whether maybe you can still overlay them, maybe it's got to be a reconstruction. But overall, your average is a 70. So that's kind of falling right in between that fair and satisfactory, as you can kind of see on that slide 5 graph. So, that's kind of where we've been held to. We've been trying to set, budgets, I think, working with staff to kind of make sure we're at least maintaining where we've been over these last 5 years. And you can kind of see that slide 6 kind of shows this is what we've done. This goes back all the way since I've, been working with the village the last going on 9 years now. And all the streets we kind of have done and the ones that are kind of in the works. We've won some different grants in the last few years that we're finally got started seeing those projects being built and continuing to get other grants too to help that additional funding throughout. But really with this whole program, what it is, and Ben comes and says, hey, I got $1 million or whatever that number is to spend. We can kind of run it like, what's the best bang for your buck? Like, what streets can we do in order to get the most done for that budget? Or maybe it's like, okay, we're at a 70 right now. We want this to be a 75. Like, what's it going to cost? So we could run those numbers for you. We update this every year. So once you do streets, we go back into our GIS and give you maps as far as what it is now. This plan is to re-inspect 2 full re-inspections throughout the 5-year contract. We can do more for the purpose of this contract. We did it for 2 re-inspections. However, if Rick calls me and says, hey, I think this is wrong. This street, it had a rough winter. We got to reevaluate this. I have it in there. I think Ben passed out those new contracts that says, up to like 4 miles. Overall in the village, there's about 65 miles, 66 miles of streets that the city maintains. So if you have an additional 4 miles, part of this contract, we will go out, we'll look at those, we'll re-inspect those. So, because it happens, right? Not, if we don't do it every year, there's going to be times in there where, winters can be rough times and you're going to see certain times concrete's popping or whatever. So if Rick gives me a call, I'll go out there with Rick. We'll evaluate and reassess, those streets as this project. So, like I said, I'm not going to go through it all slide by slide. Just kind of wanted to give you a brief overview. It's kind of nice, most municipalities really like it because citizens want to know, like, when's my street being done? How's it rate? You have it here, right? Hey, your street's a 60. So yeah, it's not great, but we also have these streets that are 50s. We have to kind of address those as well. So just kind of open it up for questions, comments.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know for a fact that there are some, would you entertain any questions from citizens regarding that exactly? Sure. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a question, but I don't think it's regarding that. I'm regarding the 3 culverts that the city's gonna put in. Where are they located?
Let's get back to public comment.
Okay, no question regarding that.
Would you be able to send us this electronically, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Be nice to have a reference to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And for the trustees to know, I went out with Jeff and Rick and Dave, and we drove all around the town, listened to them on what streets needed to be done. Some of the stuff they're talking about was over here, but I tried to catch up with it. But it does seem like a good service to have. Because we have an engineer now who can tell us, oh, you can do this or do this first or do that. Just appreciate that.
A little background, we went to this also, so it took it out of the hands of the trustees from kind of doing favor type, not that it was really happening, but it eliminated that option that they're actually getting rated, and that's how we're proceeding with the.
Gave us data-driven decisions.
Correct.
What I hear. Okay.
Yeah, I think to that extent, it serves really two primary purposes. One is to save money. If you look at the life cycle of a road, if you intervene, year one as opposed to year three, you have a much higher chance of preserving the construction of the road, saving you construction costs long-term. Number two, to your point, Brian, is optics. It's transparency of metric-driven decisions. And this is not where we would like to have roads redone. It is the roads that need to be done every year. We have an engineer providing those data points.
One question over here. Oh, with respect to that CPI number, and I didn't catch everything, but I'm assuming that CPI number really is what rates the condition of the road.
Correct. So yeah, so it's a PCI, which is a 0 to 100. So 100 is your best road, 0 is your worst. So like I said, overall the average is hovering around a 70. But that's kind of, you'll have some streets are, we're in that very poor category, and then once a street's been overlaid, it'll be 100. Now, even if it's been overlaid for street construction, sometimes those overlays might deteriorate a little faster. So, and I didn't bring this up, but in between, we kind of, so if we're not doing inspections, we kind of estimate, typically a street, an asphalt street might lose, it kind of has a linear, it kind of goes down and it kind of levels off and kind of goes down again. So, the first few years, it's going to drop several PCI. So, it's year 6, 7, it might already be in a satisfactory category, but then it's going to kind of level off and then eventually start going about, an asphalt pavement lasts about, if we say 18 years maybe before it goes in that poor category. Concrete goes longer. It's about 30 years. However, concrete, costs a lot more to install. So, yeah, kind of 0 to 100.
And to give you an idea, by their surface condition, 2% are very poor. 2% of the village is currently listed as very poor. 11% is poor. 38% is fair. 37% as satisfactory, and 13% in the good category.
But then a little extra to that is the scheduling for repairs is based on the rating.
Yeah, so for the most part, so we have all the ratings, and sometimes, some of the poor, very poor, because they're gonna take a total reconstruction, so those are a lot more, if you have to add curb and gutter, storm sewer, so sometimes those will cost a lot more, so sometimes you have to maybe save up and, you're not gonna be able to do as much. Sometimes, if you do a whole bunch of overlays, those might have to last a couple more years while you're doing some of the overlays, throughout town that kind of stretch that dollar a little further, so. But yes, essentially, we look at that, the scores in order to determine what what streets will be done in the next several years.
Okay, I appreciate that. We've been asked quite often. And I've talked to Rick about it. He's giving us the condition of it, but our streets are getting kind of bad. We only have one entrance, and I'm often giving questions.
So we typically get $1 million in MFT funds, and that's what we have to do roads with each year.
Oh, okay. Budget.
Okay, anything else for Jeff?
What are we planning for this year?
So this year, obviously the culverts are getting done. We've done, so Rosewood is the next thing on the agenda. So that is kind of doing a couple phases. The village has got some grant funding for that. So there's 2 phases of Rosewood. There's actually probably additional phases. Do you remember the street? I don't know all the street names in Rosewood. Yeah, I'm on down.
The front part and the back part.
Yeah, the front eastern part is kind of the worst part. That is in the works right now to be designed. Edning is still working on getting a few things straightened out before we bid that out because of some drainage issues through there. But the whole Edning loop there will be done in addition. So those are the main things we're focusing on for this coming season to get done.
If I recall right, I heard you talking about when we were driving around, drainage is one of the first things you have to take care of.
Drainage is a big one, yeah. Drainage is, yeah.
You have a question?
Yes, I would like to know, is there a list that the public can see onto where our roads are classified?
I don't know how you want to share that data.
Yes, I'm happy to share that with you. I sure am.
You want to yeah. We got a map here, it's really hard to read, but.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize we had PowerPoint here. Sorry, I apologize.
I'll make a motion to forward the pavement agreement to the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll make a motion to close at 7:35. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
Next item is judiciary, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, I would like to open up judiciary at 7:36. We have one thing on the agenda. It is ordinance number, I believe, 1989. And the ordinance amended the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, scheduling no parking zone. Honestly, this is something that had been worked on for quite some time. It's right in Ambrose Terrace. Me and the code enforcement and building and zoning went out and took a look at it. We took pictures and things of that nature as well. This is something that citizens have reached out to me several times about. And truthfully, I believe that there's really nothing else to discuss. I would entertain a motion to move it forward to the board.
I think you're confused. This isn't the stop sign one, is it?
No, it's not a stop sign. It's no parking sign. No parking sign.
Oh, okay. Then I'm confused.
And I've been out there too, and it is needed.
So basically, really quick, for those who are confused, there is a very narrow street. I've also spoken to the fire department about it and things of that nature as well. There's a fire hydrant that's right there. When there are emergency vehicles going in and things of that nature, it makes it that much more difficult for traffic to go in and out, period. Because people are parking on the side of the street, and them parking on the side of the street on that particular corner makes it more difficult for people to get to that fire hydrant, as well as, generally speaking, a safety concern, and turning around that corner in particular.
Would either of the chiefs like to comment on that since he referenced emergency vehicle?
Initially, when I was speaking with the residents back there, as Trustee Lewis explained, there is a fire hydrant right before that turn. And the way that bend is in the road, it's almost wide enough that it looked like it was a cul-de-sac before it proceeded back to the rest of the street. We did explain with the residents, and I got Chief Blomberg involved in the discussion, as well as just the state statute of parking around a fire hydrant. But the perception of coming around that corner, making that right bend, it is still limited access, limited visibility. And the residents were very concerned about either a collision or emergency vehicle access around that. We did have some concerns about that as well. I believe Chief Blomberg brought up that before that if this board wishes to make an ordinance for that, it would be the board's privy. I'm kind of in agreement with it as well. And at my point, I was just going with the basis ordinance of no parking within 25 feet of the fire hydrant. However, I do believe this will be a little bit more beneficial for both the residents and for emergency services.
Thank you, Chief.
And Natalie, I'll say that I've been out there numerous times myself, just going by my experience as an officer. It looks like a cul-de-sac. It's many cul-de-sac. It was poorly designed, and if there's parking on that side where we're wanting to eliminate it, it should alleviate the problem very much so.
Yeah, I'm looking at photos over here now. I can see it too.
And like I said before, this was actually brought up under discussion last meeting. I gave the address and everything like that. We've actually been discussing this for almost a year and a half. At this point, I believe that it's fair, again, like I said, to the resident, for there to be a motion to move forward.
So, Kerry, you're making that motion?
As chairman, I usually find it more appropriate to.
You can make the motion.
I make a motion to forward this over to the board.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to close judiciary at 7:40.
Thank you.
Mr. Lanner, Community and Economic Development.
Open the committee meeting at 7:40. Discussion item on Sycamore Village.
Okay. I just want to provide a general update for the Sycamore Village property. I did meet with the owner finally after multiple times I sent him correspondence. He responded with his representative, met me here at Village Hall to discuss what's taking place and what is proposed to take place in the future. They said they have initially planned to get the overgrowth cleaned up, the trees, the grass, et cetera. They do have somewhat of a plan, supposedly, working with an architect and a development group of some sort to revitalize the property. I obviously told him that needs a significant amount of work inside and out for that to ever happen, but ultimately it's their money and their project. So I explained that the village is not happy with the property. It's a harbor for vagrants and other criminality and so forth. It's been a longstanding issue for some time. I basically have the intention that they want to do right by the village and restore this property. We will see what happens. With that being said, though, that does not stop the current action taking place on the property. I notified them of that as well. So we'll stay in contact, but we will stay in the course. If I can add to that, along the lines of parallel paths of enforcement, I was going to let you know that I have heard from our lobbyists at the state level that we have been awarded some funds allocated for a host of different purposes. Once I have that list a little bit better fleshed out, I'm going to bring you those details next meeting, but among them is a large line item for demolition. So could aid in that process, whichever path we go.
Thank you.
Next item, third-party review.
So this one, I just wanted to bring to the board's attention on a proposed idea that we consider, and that's the use of a third-party plan review service for commercial construction projects generally valued at over $1 million. I think from being in the field and doing plan review for so many years, I realized that the complexity of review is significantly more as the dollar amount goes up. So I figured that the 1 million was a good cutoff for bringing in a third-party service. I did the same thing when I worked at Clean Carbon. After reaching out to the code enforcement officials of Southern Illinois, that's the building inspector group we're all in. Many other municipalities use a third-party review service for the large-scale commercial projects. It ultimately eliminates the effect of staffing limitations on projects with generally high dollar amounts where the applicant has a certain expectation for the review. It provides the village expertise and specialization on complex or unusual building systems, provides a faster turnaround to the applicant, helps ensure thorough and consistent code compliance on large-scale projects, and provides a generally unbiased perspective on projects by removing the local element from a review. So with the board's blessing, I guess is the word, I would like to look into utilizing that sooner than later.
What's it cost for?
The applicant will pay the fee for that.
Nothing.
That was
gonna be my next question. Passing that on.
I have used the service for many commercial projects, ranging in from a couple $1 million to 10, 20 plus $1 million, 150 plus unit apartment complex. Of course, that review is going to cost more. In my experience, generally, the applicant is aware that for projects of that scale, municipalities of this size use a third-party service and the applicant pays for it. So, and to be clear, moving forward with this would involve including it in our code of ordinances. It would be. I would propose again to write this into code. Generally, the process works by the village receives a application. We sign a fee agreement with the applicant to pay the fee. I fill out the form to the third-party service and submit it. The communication between the applicant and the third-party service goes back and forth, however many times it takes. We get a final set of approved plans. Applicant pays the fee. We issue the building permit. Any questions or concerns about the process or what that looks like for us, the applicant, or whatever the case may be? I'm happy to answer or look into further if you'd like.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, next item is discussion regarding ongoing property maintenance concerns.
Okay, so this one is My idea is just how can we put something in place that helps the residents out, helps the village out, maybe kill two birds with one stone. But we've received many complaints over the last few months regarding property maintenance issues at a property where the resident has little income, maybe under physical or medical limitations, or otherwise cannot maintain their property to a code compliant standard. The end result is the neighbors suffer, our standards suffer, and I'm suggesting we think of an alternative approach instead of just citation in court. Some communities have something like a hardship assistance program, so I wanted to throw that out to see if this was something that the board would be interested in. I can get started to work on a draft of sorts, or if there's comment or concern, I can take that into account, start working on something.
I say start working on that. Like I said when I was running for this office, willing to look and try anything. If it doesn't work, we'll revamp it. So let's try. Let's look at it.
How many properties do you think it is that fall in your category today?
In the southern part of town, more than I'd like to say. I think it'll depend largely on what the standards for the program are written as, but yeah, I think there's the need for it. And again, to build the program out, we'd have to look at exactly what it covers. I mean, we're not going to go in and take care of the property inside and out, top and bottom of every resident. It says so, but we have to understand that there are things in place that prevent people from maintaining their property to our standard.
And I think that we have to be honest with the fact that we have an aging population. And with the aging population that we have, a lot of them are on a fixed income, and they may not necessarily have the ability to get out there and do it. So I believe that I would be in agreement. Let's move on forward to make Swansea as beautiful as we possibly can.
Okay, next item. Ordinances concerning parking and storage of vehicles.
Okay, this is the one I brought to you last time. The only, to my recollection, the only real issue at hand was addressing the size limit for commercial vehicles. So I changed that from 3/4 to 1 ton. That should account for the issues Trustee McGuire brought to everyone's attention. Other than that, I'd like to proceed as written. I think ultimately with both ordinances presented tonight, this one especially, is that there are going to be some circumstances, a little bit of gray area here and there based on the circumstance that we'll have to account. That use discretion and common sense would be the goal, but I think this is great as written. We can go out and start enforcing this.
And we did compare to some other municipalities to try and make sure we're similar lines.
Hey, Brian, what size, you got utility trailers, what size, there's no sizes, can they have tandem axle trailers?
I would just refer you to the definition of utility trailer.
It's pretty, I mean, you could have a tandem axle trailer parked in the driveway.
Let's see. So a non-motorized vehicle designed primarily for the transport of goods, materials, equipment, typically towed behind a motorized vehicle and used for personal, commercial, industrial. And then, what was the concern with
The size of that utility trailer.
the size of it?
I mean, there's the whole different, when a utility trailer doesn't really define what size trailer it is.
Right.
I mean, it could be, have to be a tandem axle, be considered a utility trailer.
In other sections of codes, for instance, the traffic code does have some parameters of size for a trailer. I think personally, again, I'll take any comment into account. Personally, I think items 1 through 4 are generally restrictive enough, even without a size parameter.
I think you need to have a length of the trailer. Can you have 20 foot parked in there?
I mean, if you have a 20-foot trailer parked in your driveway, if it's impeding the sidewalk, that's another issue. If it's poking out into the street, that's another issue.
There's a lot of people with these side loading, driveways that are long and park pretty large trailers in it.
I mean, if your driveway can contain 1 trailer, I'd say that it would be allowed. I can tell you that the numerous complaints we're getting on a daily basis for 4 trailers full of debris in somebody's backyard, parked in the middle of the yard. This addresses it. The majority of our complaints this addresses. Could it be critiqued to be more specifically restricted? Possibly. But this does get us, this gets us there. It gets us better than where we're at.
Thank you.
I understand the idea of the parking in the yard. I guess my concern is, I just see a lot of active job sites right now in residents, especially with the storms that came through. And I'm seeing trailers that need to be dropped off because they're dropping it there to go get another one to drop it off here. It's taken 2 or 3 days to put that roof on or do whatever. And I have some concerns on how we might be limiting our residents for them to be able to take care of their homes appropriately.
And that point is well received, and I get that from a personal standpoint. Ultimately, I think that the way I operate and that I'd like my staff to operate as well is that if a circumstance came to us like that, then we would work with the resident gladly. But
They would still be in violation.
Maybe, but we could say, I'm having my roof replaced. This is what's going on, and.
Well, that should be up to the roofer getting in contact with you because of the homeowner puts them there. Because I've had a lot of roofs put on in my neighborhood lately. They get it done one day, they bring all their equipment one day, and they're gone one day.
And as someone who just had it done Friday, mine was too, but the neighbor it was 3 days, different contractor, different project.
We would, there's
Involved solar panels, took longer.
discretion and common sense has to be used in some of this. I think that the plan in that circumstance would be to use discretion ultimately. But this was really written to address the current issues that we're being faced with every day. And that's the thing with multiple trailers. We are
I agree with that.
all over the place. So that's really the intent. But
Common sense, and like I told you.
Common sense will be used. We're not trying to overly constrict people working on their home, especially some storm damaged of immediate concern. This is just
Yeah, and you will learn a lot of that by what I talked to you about earlier, is I want our people going up talking to people, not just singing paper.
and they are doing a good job.
Dan, when you brought this up last time under commercial vehicles, under number 1, I had asked for a revision there and I don't see it. The revision I'd requested was if we could add something unless they were currently providing services. So 1 hour unless they were currently providing services to prevent someone from, it shouldn't take longer than an hour. But I wanted something in there to cover them to be able to safely provide those services since those are hazardous materials.
Did 1B get that? To your liking specifically?
I'm sorry, where?
Under commercial vehicles, I'm sorry, 2B.
For a commercial vehicle, but I want that under for the hauling explosives. Because right now you have it under if they're hauling any sort of explosive, gasoline, liquid, petroleum, hazardous materials, they can't be there longer than an hour. And if they're currently providing services, I want them covered.
I must have completely missed that.
That's okay.
And ultimately, this can continually be amended as the need and issues arise and adjustments have to be made. I guess my preference would be that we move forward on it just for the sake of this is a tool we can use immediately.
Right, I agree with that, and we can always tweak it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to forward this to the board for approval with the minor revisions suggested on the timing by trustee Jablonski.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. And before I move to the next one, I just want the board to know that I've talked to Ben, I've talked to Dan. Any ordinances that are in detail like this, instead of coming to the board and we look at it Friday and vote on it Monday, I want to see it minimum a week before, go over it, and then have them get it to you ASAP, not just Friday before. So you can all take a longer look at it. The public can too, if it's on the
Thank you very much.
agenda. Okay? Next item, public safety. We have nothing at this time. Cultural committee, Mr. Lewis, have nothing?
No, sir, not at this time.
Swansea report, Mr. Blonsky, anything?
Just the articles are going to be due by June 20th. We're looking pretty full based on current pieces there. So if you've got something in, please make sure you get it in quickly so we can sneak it in. We also have, I worked with Stephanie, we'll be putting the piece in the US for with regards to the live streaming. We'll make it a permanent piece of there.
All right. Well, we will move on to the regular meeting. I'll call it to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Lewis, present. Lori Bobschall.
Yeah, Gloria's. Gloria's like, that's my job.
Okay. Trustee McGuire,
Present.
trustee Pocek,
Present.
trustee Lanter,
Present.
trustee Tuvenar,
Present.
trustee Jablonski,
Present.
trustee Lewis.
Present.
We have a quorum. Under mayor's announcements, a couple things. We're live streaming tonight for the first time, so if there are issues, I'd like for the public to leave something on our website and tell us what they think. Everything new is always subject to improvement. The second item is, I can't go there. Moving on to mayor's appointments. I was going to do an appointment of Brian Flynn, but I've got some further investigative work that I want to do and contact with our village attorney, so I'm placing that on hold. Next item, approval of the minutes. Are we going to be having the minutes available, Gloria, or do we need some time to wait for any corrections?
No, fine.
I have concerns with how the minutes are currently presented with regards to the length of them. They're more of a transcript as opposed to minutes. Is there an opportunity that we can do a revision on those before we approve them?
In other words, condense them?
Sure.
Okay, so we will hold off on board minutes, the committee minutes, and executive session minutes until there is a revision and condensing of that.
We're also still missing May 2nd.
Yes.
Right.
Not second, fourth, fifth, whatever it was.
It should have been in there because it's been revised and corrected. I was sent a copy of it.
I have not seen it.
All right, we'll get together with you and work on that then. But we have to get this in caught up and in order.
You get them on the list.
Accept of the minutes, advisory boards placed on file. Anything from?
There's none.
Park District? You have anything?
What's your other advisory board?
No, I'm sorry. There is nothing. I'm sorry. My fault, Charlie. Move down to the park board chairman report. Now, Charlie.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that we had a successful Memorial Day event. Many of the trustees were there. Thank you very much for attending. I'd like to thank Fire Chief Little for providing the flags and ceremony. We had about 40 people there. Very successful. Our next meeting is on the Saturday a week, and we'll be planning the Dracula Spectacular from that.
Very good.
You had outstanding weather for that event too.
And yes, for whoever we should thank, we were very thankful.
It was very beautifully done.
I want to also add a thank you to Mike Anderson for allowing us to advertise the announcement for the event on the sign.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was very nice.
Okay, moving on Nothing from the village attorney. Ben, village administrator, announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. I got a few items to discuss. This first one is I want to catch you guys up. Some of you may or may not be familiar. The village has a energy aggregation program that started in 2014, put into place by a referendum that our residents voted on. Every time the capacity rate or any rates change within the program, our provider, which is currently Home Field Energy, is required to put out a mailing to all of our residents notifying them of change in their current rates. Ameren is not required to do that, but our energy provider, third party, is. So residents will have been getting either have already in the last week or a lot of them this week. Okay, John, you already got yours. Notices the rates are changing. So you guys might be getting questions about this. We're already getting a lot of questions, so I just wanted to discuss it briefly. Currently, we are in a 2-year contract for energy aggregation. The village is actually in 4 contracts. Our residents have one contract for community aggregation. That's a buying group of about 60 communities that all go in and take bids on energy provision, supplies specifically. We're in a contract separately for the provision of energy for our streetlights. We're in a separate contract for our facilities, and we're in a contract additionally for natural gas. The contract that we are in now is with a 48-month contract that will end December 1st of this year. And as of July 1st, those rates are changing, not our supply rate, which we are in a 2-year contract for, but the capacity rate, so delivery. So you have companies that are providing energy, not Ameren. They bid it out, and they're providing the supply of that energy. That is one part of your bill. There's another part of your bill that is delivery of that energy. Well, regardless of who's providing that supply, it's all going through Ameren's system. So when the capacity rate goes up, the delivery rate, that applies equally to the utility rate, whether you're getting your energy from Ameren or whether you're getting it from Home Field Energy, which is the case in our current contract. Well, the capacity, the delivery rate just went up, applies equally whether you're in the contract or you're not. So notice is going out to all of our residents. The important thing to note is the price to compare. Currently, our contract with the increased delivery rate is 0.119 cents per kilowatt hour, 11.92 cents per kilowatt hour. The Ameren rate is 12.54 cents per kilowatt hour. So for the next 3 months, from July 1st to October 1st, those rates will be in place. Those are the high demand summer usage rates that Ameren has in place. After that time, from October 1st to December 1st, we will still be in our long-standing contract. So right now, during summer rates, our price to compare in our contract is lower than the Ameren rate. Once those summer rates expire for Ameren, there's a chance that our contract might be underwater for the portion from October 1st to December 1st. I'll be coming to you, notifying you that we are going out to bid for another contract to replace our current contract expiring December 1st and beginning from December 1st on either 18, 24, 30, or 36 months, depending on what kind of bids we get. The important thing for our residents to remember is you can opt out of our aggregation program at any time, no fees, no cost. But once you exit that program, you cannot re-enter that program for another 12 months, 1 full year. So you can't jump back and forth between program and non-program rates just to receive the best rate. Over the life of this contract, this program, which started in 2014, our residents have saved somewhere around $4 million. This was as of last August when we did this full analysis. On average, it has saved our residents money for their power bills. But there are 2 aspects of the contract that are valuable. 1 is cost savings, and 2 is also price stability. So no matter if energy prices spike due to a storm in the Gulf, our residents are protected with a flat line, predictable, reliable cost of energy provision. So price stability is valuable, but also our residents have saved money. So if you get calls, you please direct them my way. If you're comfortable answering those questions, certainly feel free to do so. But you're also welcome to give residents my number directly, and I'm happy to talk to them about any issues they might be having. It's also important to note now for the first time this year, based on comments and feedback that we've been giving, residents do have the ability to opt out online at homefieldenergy.com/opt-out, which is far easier than it was historically by getting on the phone and going through call centers. So, want to make the board aware of that fact.
Question, can I have a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, at one time Ameren had a tiered, you says 12.5 right now. You know, they still employ that tier, like so many kilowatt hours were at that 12.5. And then when you had bought more, when you went over that, it dropped down. So the average is, or.
I don't know.
Okay, I was gonna call and then I thought.
I would be happy to ask our.
Cause they used to have that tiered rate.
Okay. I will
So a high
find that out.
user, a higher user maybe would be cheaper with Ameren,
I see.
you know, because that you get so many kilowatt hours of drive. But I don't know if that's still
Okay.
enforced, so.
I will find and answer that question. Any other questions? Okay. Secondly, we have a ribbon cutting this Wednesday, the 4th at 9 a.m. This is our Swansea bus benches right out front of Walgreens. This is a result of a placemaking initiative, which is a partnership between Citizens for Modern Transit, St. Clair County Transit District, AARP, and the Village of Swansea. The mayor and I will be there. He will be giving a few remarks. Should be a quick ribbon cutting, but just so you guys are all aware.
What was that time again?
9 a.m. this Wednesday, the 4th. And they installed benches on either side of 159, right at the Fullerton crossing there. Excuse me, they have not. They will be installing them tomorrow and Wednesday.
They did the concrete work already.
There you go.
Ben, if appropriate, can you get a picture of that for Stephanie's article?
Sure.
Thank you.
Next, I want to let everybody know that our MEPRD grant was successfully submitted. We received confirmation receipt from MEPRD, and that is related to our planning, our plan that we passed a couple weeks ago with Heartland's Conservancy. That's our open space community-wide planning process. So they will have a board, MEPRD has a board meeting on the 10th, where we will find out for sure whether we've been funded for that or not. Additionally, we worked with TWM and Congressman Hoffman's office. There was a notice of funding opportunity that came out 2 weeks ago. It was a really quick turnaround. Luckily, we've got a couple quote unquote shovel-ready projects on the shelf. We prioritized the Huntwood-Grimmick realignment, which many of you are familiar with, was already budgeted in the state capital program with IDOT. No guarantee on when that would actually happen. So Congressman Hoffman recommended we go ahead and apply for a separate set of funding as well, 2 parallel paths. We prioritized that project number 1. Our second project that we submitted was the shared use path along 161, roughly from Josephine up to 159 on the southern side of the road. And the third project we submitted would have been phase 2 for the Huntwood-Grimmick realignment project. I will keep you updated as we receive information on those applications. We had just a quick note, we had a very successful Rotary 5K in town this weekend, thanks to the officers for all of their help. And it was a very nice community event. Rotary always does great work for the village. Again, I will let you know more details at our next meeting once I have those details about the line item requests that we made and have received from the state capital bill. And the last thing, Trustee Jablonski made me aware that some residents were reaching out, I guess some posts and some online discussion regarding township road taxation, specifically the geographical use of road funds. I just want the record to reflect that I did receive that inquiry from her, and I've requested more information from the county, and I will bring those details back once I have had more of those conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Ben?
That's all I have at this time, Rick. Thank you.
Chief Blumberg, anything? Chief Little? Mr. Tucker?
Oh, sure.
Man? All right, thank you. Next item is public comment. We have a request from Jeff Leahy. Lehigh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, first of all. I saw in the agenda here that they're talking about hiring Attorney Glenn for another attorney for the village.
Being considered, yes.
Okay, he's considered part, but how can they consider him being an attorney for the village if he's in a legal battle with the village?
And that is why I put it on hold to do further research.
I understand, but I think it needs to be in the minutes so that, everybody knows about it.
Okay.
I just don't understand that. And that's why my dad's here and my neighbor.
Okay. Duly noted, sir. Thank you. Any other comments? If you do, I need you to step up to the podium. If not, you can step up to the podium, sir, and state your name, fill out that form for us so we can put it in our records.
Good evening. My name is Cedric Mason. And my question is, when you see something like on the the Public Works Committee, the bids, how do you know what is being bid? It just say 3 culverts. Where are they at? How would you find out where are these culverts at and what do they consist of? What kind of work is consisted of this? How far do they go? How would you find out?
The bid packages are always posted on the website.
That's my only question.
Okay, so you can do that, or you could even call down and ask for village administrator and he'll be able to explain it to you.
That's all I have.
All right, sir, thank you. Appreciate your input. Report of committees, personnel, please.
Yes, first, I want to make sure that we, as on behalf of the board, we appreciate and congratulate Detective Jason Frank, who is now Sergeant Jason Frank. So please give him our congratulations officially, Chief. Also want to thank and acknowledge Sergeant Huff and Sergeant Shackman for their life-saving award. And thank you for sharing that video with us as well. I've got a travel request for Chief Bloomberg and Deputy Chief Keith Howard to attend the FBI NAA quarterly meeting in East Moline on August 18th through 19th. The total estimated cost is $422.72. And I'd like to make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Tuvenar.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Next item of discussion is a request to hire for duty crew, paid on-call duty crew firefighter Gregory D. Sutter for $15 an hour. It's a non-exempt hourly position. I'd like to make a motion to accept that hire.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Tuvenar.
Aye.
And last on the agenda, we have 3 employment contracts, one for village administrator, one for police chief, and one for deputy police chief, which are under separate cover. I would like to make a motion to approve these 3 contracts with the edits that were made under executive session.
We really should do those individually.
Happy to do so. Thank you so much. Let's begin, please, then with the deputy police chief contract.
Trustee Lewis seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Tuvenar.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye. Next would be to make a motion to approve the employment contract for police chief under separate cover with the noted changes made in executive session.
Trustee Lewis seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaar.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
And next, I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment contract for village administrator under separate cover with the changes that were accepted in executive session.
Trustee Lewis seconds.
Motion and a second. Questions? Roll call.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaar.
I am voting no for the payment that's being made that's not available to other coworkers in our village.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on, Finance Committee.
I will make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $334,835 and have the funds drawn from the proper accounts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaar.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
I will make a motion to read resolution 1-2686 by title only.
Trustee Lewis seconds.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead and read that, please.
Resolution number 1-2686, a resolution accepting the professional services agreement with the Regional Justice Information Service, 4255 West Pine Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63108, to provide information technology support to the Village of Swansea through April 30th, 2026.
Make a motion to accept resolution 1-2686 and declare it passed.
Trustee Jablonski seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaar.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
All right, passes. Next item, judiciary.
All right, yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to trying to double check, because I want to waive the second reading as well. I'm trying to double check to remember how to quite do that.
Just do it at the end.
Okay. Yeah, it's just the ordinance 1989, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances, chapter 78, schedule 1, no parking zones. I want to make the motion for the first reading.
Are you wanting the first reading or are you wanting to suspend the rules?
I want to suspend the rules.
Okay, a motion, you have a motion.
Yeah, but it has to be
rules for the first reading. We have a motion. Is there a second?
So you suspend the rules for the second reading, but
Yeah.
I'll second first reading.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay.
Okay, then I have to make the motion.
She's got to read it first.
Yeah, she got to read it first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to read it. Well, this is suspending the rules.
The second one.
Suspend the rules.
On the second one.
Okay, we need to read the ordinance we're suspending the rules on. Okay, go ahead and read the ordinance.
1988?
It's 89.
89.
89, okay.
It's the no parking zones.
Okay. Ordinance number 1989, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Schedule 1, no parking zones.
Okay, there was a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Rules are suspended. Now you can do a motion.
Wait, what happened?
Somebody,
Yeah, isn't that right?
well, he needs to make a motion to suspend the
Yeah.
rules and have the second
Well,
reading.
that motion was for the,
That was just
first
the first
reading.
reading, right?
Yeah, that was
Now we
the
got to
motion for the
suspend the rules and have the second
so we
reading
have to
tonight
vote
rather than.
by
wait.
roll call for the first reading.
Right, it should be.
What?
Damn.
They didn't vote on the first.
Push
Okay, my bad.
another parking ordinance through tonight too.
I'm sorry.
You want to push the parking ordinance through?
So, no, I'm just trying to double check to make
So
sure.
now we need to make a motion to
Suspend the rules and have the second reading tonight.
Okay, my bad, my mistake. It called for the first reading and then it calls for suspension and then we go to it.
Right.
All right. So I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules for second reading for ordinance 1989.
Second.
We have a motion. All in favor is to suspend the rules.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Wait, just to double check, I thought we needed a roll call.
No, well,
just
no,
to
she
be-
needs to read it now for this
Okay,
second
all
time.
right, I just want to double check.
She needs to read it and then.
Does she? Okay, read the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 1989, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Schedule 1, no parking zone, to suspend the rule.
Yeah, suspending the rule, do it all in one night. That's what we're doing here.
Is there a second?
What?
I think the request, the motion should have been, make a motion to suspend the rules and second read
Right.
the ordinance 1989 by title only.
And then they read it and then you vote on it, it's
Yeah.
passed, right? So you're.
Make them approve.
Because normally you have to wait.
I understand the wait part. Yeah, I was just, at school board, we did it different, so.
Yeah, okay.
You want me to read again?
No.
I make a motion to approve the second reading.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the second reading. Declare it passed. But you did?
Get a second. And
Okay, was there a second, please? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, trustee Little seconds.
Okay. That error is on me. I accept it.
no big deal.
So
We need to vote.
now can you read ordinance number 1989 a second time, please?
Ordinance number
It's
19,
just roll call at this point, because we already.
roll call.
Okay, roll
Trustee
call.
McGuire,
Aye.
trustee Poche,
Aye.
trustee Lanter, trustee Jablonski,
Aye.
trustee Tuvenar,
Aye.
trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Motion passed. And I apologize. I've done it a different way and I will get on top of that. Okay. That's it for judiciary. Community and economic development, please.
Does anybody have an issue suspending the rules for the parking and storage of vehicles? So they can be enacted along with the regulations since we pushed it back a week or 2 weeks.
Substantive issues or procedural issues?
I just think with the changes made and this would be a public, maybe they're watching the live stream and might want to attend the next meeting. That
There could be people at this.
Okay.
Two readings.
And we had an edit that's gonna be made, so it'd be good to see it in full.
I'll make a motion for, read the first reading of the ordinance, 1990
Mhm.
by title only.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and read the ordinance now.
Ordinance number 1990, an ordinance amending sections 154.018 and 154.059 of the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Swansea, Illinois, to establish definitions and regulations for the parking and storage of vehicles, recreational vehicles, commercial vehicles, utility trailers, and vehicle coverings.
Okay, I'll make a motion on the second reading by title only of 1988.
We jumped down.
What's happening?
Second reading for ordinance number 1988 under section 2. So is there a second?
Second.
What are we talking here?
I'm sorry, did I hear a second?
Can we hold on 1 second? I'm not sure the perfect time to intervene with this, but just from the last meeting to this one, I did make some minor changes to the ordinance. I'm happy to run through them top to bottom if you'd like. If not, the gist of the ordinance is the same, the title is the same, I'm accomplishing the same thing with it. But I did make some changes to some definitions, to some wording in a couple sections.
Based on the conversation.
I had with Charlie here. So I took into account some things, I left some things as they were. Happy to go through them all point by point if you'd like, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So the board has the option to read it and pass it as revised. If you'd like to go through those changes, we can.
What's the board's choice?
I think you probably have
There was a change made.
to notify the changes that were made.
There was a request tonight to make a change, though.
No, we're talking
Right?
about the vegetation.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's not on here.
No, it's not on the agenda there.
I would say if you just bullet point the changes.
Sure. I will run through them quickly. But
I was confused as well.
starting with the definitions. Okay. So just real quick, had this discussion with Charlie from a conservationist standpoint of some clarification, some redundancy that could be removed and so forth. So I tried to take some of that into account, and again, like I said, leave some alone, change some, and hopefully come out with a better finished product. The definition for nuisance. I removed the existing sentence states nuisances may be abated which are public or which are both public or private in nature. Read somewhat confusing. Change it to nuisances may be abated at village discretion after proper notice has been served. Health hazard, that definition made an exclusion for chipmunks. There was just an exclusion for squirrels, but understand chipmunk is a similar backyard animal of some sort, so added the exclusion for that. I removed some wording from the definition of plant. Can leave that as is, or read the entire thing. I just, if it had 4 sentences, I took 2 out, now it has 2 sentences, so just streamline the definition a little bit. Safety hazard, a very slight rewording at the end of the definition to remove the word passerby. It stated passerby and general public, eliminate the passerby terminology. I addressed the issue of stumps. Originally written into the ordinance was stumps needed to be removed below ground level. I understand that could be a burdensome financially to accomplish that. So the updated terminology is stumps when present shall be removed to match existing final grade of the area the tree was cut from. So I think that accomplishes it. I wouldn't want a stump, 5 foot tall, or I thought ground level, when you're having a tree cut, they can get it pretty close. I think if we get that, it's a little more aesthetically pleasing than having anything taller.
A lot of people can't afford a stump removal.
Right? So I think that doing it like this, it takes that into account.
Yeah, but he made change. He just got it over there. I'd like to see it. I'm someone who has to visually look at something, so you're going through it, but I don't have it in the board packet this time to reference back and forth. I don't have it in my,
Yeah, I read it.
in my version. I didn't get it in here. So it's gotta be in this one here.
It's at the very end of the board packet.
Thank you.
That's all the minutes, yeah.
That's my interest. There she is. For some reason, it's not in the electronic one that I could find. And I don't doubt you a bit. I just need to look at it.
I understood, and I'm happy to get you a initial and updated version if you'd like to have them side by side as well. But again, like I said, the gist is still the same.
I guess here's my question. Charlie, you're the head of the park board. You made the recommended changes, correct?
Yes.
And you're comfortable with
I
the
think the
changes?
changes he made the ordinance much more cohesive and much more pointed for what the goal was. So I think the changes are quite good.
So on behalf of the park board, you would support it? That's all I need to know.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion? It's been too long.
Yes, I made a motion.
Okay. I'll entertain a second, please.
McGuire seconded it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And these are all things that are gonna show up in the Swansea report. Because I know with stumps, like we have a neighbor, two neighbors actually, that took down trees and the stumps are a little bit above grade. If we're saying at grade, they're gonna need to have those addressed.
We are saying at grade.
So can you please work with Stephanie to just do a highlight and then maybe a reference of where that's listed on the website for additional details?
Sure.
I'll let her know it's coming. Thank you.
All right, public safety, we have nothing. Did you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. Public works,
I'll make a motion to read resolution 1-2687 by title only.
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you can read it.
Resolution number 1-2687, a resolution accepting the low bid of $162,338 from KRB Excavating Incorporated, 789 West Broadway, Trenton, Illinois, 62293 for 3 culvert replacement projects.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 1-2687, sorry.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaw.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I'll make a motion, we read resolution 1-2688 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, go ahead.
Resolution number 1-2688, a resolution accepting the professional services contract from Toovanaw, Wade and Morgan Incorporated, 4940 Old Collinsville Road, Swansea, Illinois, 62226 for payment management systems for 5 years at a cost of $16,700 annually.
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion, resolution 1-2688 be passed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee McGuire.
Aye.
Trustee Pochet.
Aye.
Trustee Lanter.
Aye.
Trustee Jablonski.
Aye.
Trustee Toovanaw.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Nothing for cultural at this committee at this time. Is that right, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir.
Swansea report?
Nothing further.
Old business? Anything for old business?
I have one thing. The gentleman that was cleaning up, the house up here, did he meet his timeline?
I'm gonna be making a final inspection there tomorrow, to determine what the current state of it is. To be determined.
That doesn't sound positive. Let's hope so.
He's a crew of one.
Any other old business?
No, I just wanted to bring up again that, moving forward, the things that were brought up under cultural committee quite some time ago regarding Robert's Rules of Order, as well as how we conduct ourselves and things of that nature, will be brought up again at a later date. We've already discussed that. I just wanted to make the full board aware of that.
All right, thank you. Anything under new business?
Yes, I have one thing. I was speaking with Mike Anderson recently. One thing, if he got in as trustee, he wanted to do is set up like a
large item or, trash cleanup, like post up in a couple different places in town and allow people to bring, stuff to dumpsters and haul it off. Do you know, is that something we can use the Republic Service dumpsters for? Or
Potentially, I'd be happy to ask our,
see how many we have available and stuff? So, I told him I'd work on helping him plan that if we can make it happen.
I think if we had, it'd be easier if we had a specific request, for number and sizes, and I would go to them with that. I think it'd probably be, to our benefit.
I'll follow up with him with which exact details he was thinking. We were thinking a couple different locations, so.
I have a feeling they'd be willing to partner with us on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything under announcements?
I have something, Mayor.
All right, go ahead.
On behalf of the mayor, because I know it's difficult for him to talk about it right now, but I want to express the condolences of this board and the staff for the loss of Homer. For those of you who don't know, Homer was a very special dog to this community and an even more special dog to Jeff and his family. Not just a pet, he was beyond that. He was a service to students, a service to those in need, and a service to the village of Swansea. And please know that we are all holding you and Dee in our hearts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we're adjourned.
Hey, John.
Well,